I mentioned this in the past before. I grew up in a family where almost every single family member has been divorced at least once. My mom has been divorced 6 times, my older sister twice. And the very important thing I want to mention is that throughout all of these divorces, it is the woman that filed for every single one of them. This is why I want you ladies to stay all the way until the end. I want to tell you guys how destructive this concept is, and nothing good has ever come out of it. So I'm not clickbaiting. My mom at one point, she had an extremely successful business. She was a multi-millionaire CEO, and due to her sixth divorce, the business went down the drain. And now she's gone credit bankrupt, and she's got nothing left. She's currently on antidepressants. She's had multiple suicide attempts, and her life has been extremely miserable. I believe that she was indoctrinated way back in the 1980s, and she was sold into a lie. And back when she filed for her very first divorce, she could not have foreseen this. Many years down the road, she didn't think how destructive this could ever be. So I'm going to tell her everything I know from what I've learned over the years from my mom and my sister. And ladies, please stick until the end, okay? If you look at 1980, China's divorce rate was less than 2%. Even if you go back to as recent as 2000, it was still below 10%. But it's a very recent phenomenon, and I think it's going to lead the country into destruction. So China's divorce rate in 2019 reached a record-breaking 50.7%, 4.3 million divorces. Yes, you heard that correctly, 4.3 million divorces in 2019. And almost every single one of these divorces is filed by the woman. And I've mentioned this before, our entire system, our justice system, our marriage system, our divorce system, the court system, it's all rigged to 100% destroy the man. The reason why almost all the women file for the divorce is that they're almost guaranteed to benefit from it. Over 90% of the time, the woman will guaranteed to get the custody. It's only the extremely rich man that can have the time, and they can afford to hire the lawyer. They can fight the court system so that they can gain custody. 97% of alimony is paid from man to woman. Where's the equality in that if you're pushing for that? Listen, facts don't care about your feelings. You have to start thinking about the logic. And I think the reason why, even without the benefits, even if our system wasn't rigged against men so much, women would be still file for divorce the vast majority of the time. And it is true that women also end their relationships vast majority of the time. Listen, just because you're mad at him, I understand. Sometimes the guy could be an asshole, could be a douchebag. Sometimes he makes mistakes, he does dumb things. But just because you're mad at that guy, it doesn't mean that you stop loving him. Okay? Once again, I'll say this again. Just because you're mad at him, it doesn't mean that you stopped loving him. You have to really take a step back and compose yourself and think about everything that has led to this point of your marriage and your relationship. And you can't just let your emotions take over. And because once again, nothing good will ever come out of the divorce. Listen, if you look at the divorce rates right now, the reason why it's so high that if you look at divorce rates for first marriage, it's around 30%. It's still quite high, but that means that you have roughly a 70% chance of successful marriage if it's your first marriage. But if you choose to go down that road and you choose to file for divorce, look at the divorce rates for second, third, and fourth marriage. You're looking at 60, 70, 80, 90%. So my mom, her first marriage was way back in 1981. And she had my sister in 1982. And I don't know exactly what the details are, but by 1989, something had changed within her, and she said she was very unhappy. Basically, it wasn't because her first husband was broke, because I know that after my mom filed for divorce, he later married another woman, a much younger woman, and he had another daughter. So obviously he was able to provide, but something had gone wrong in the marriage, and this is very important. See, back in the day, what they teach you, I don't know what the hell they teach you in the West, but that was always taught in China. I don't know if you see the movie Mulan, if you see her sword, there were 4 characters. Initially, there were 3 characters engraved on there. It talks about strong, brave, and true. And at the end of the movie, the Mulan, the live Disney adaptation, there's a 4th character. It's called Xiao. It's very hard to translate this Chinese character, but in the movie they called it devotion to your family. And for everybody, and it's taught that you have a devotion to your family, to your predecessors. And the whole point of marriage is to procreate, is to to bring life to the next world, because that's the only way society can continue. That's the only way we move on as humanity. And they say your number one devotion to your family, that was always taught for thousands of years, is to have children. And the goal of marriage is never about happiness. And that was, listen, these vows go back thousands of years. Marriage is for richer and for poorer, not just for richer. It's in health and in sickness. And it's for better or for worse. People were stuck through it. Divorce was not a thing for thousands of years because people understood sometimes you might not get along, but you have a role, you have a devotion to your family, to your parents, to your predecessors, and this is what you must do. But something changed within her, and see, back then when she filed for her first divorce in 1989, listen, in the 1980s, China's divorce rate was still 2 to 3%. It was almost unheard of. And at the time, nobody would knew what would happen. She thought, oh, maybe divorce is the best option for me. In the end, in 1989, and she was the one that ended the marriage. But here's the thing. So her first marriage lasted for 8 years, from 1981 to 1989. That was the longest. And from there on, things will only get worse and worse and worse. When she met my dad, that was her second marriage. And I don't know what the hell got into my mom's head, the fact that she was even attracted to my dad. My dad, I'll go into more details later, but he is Hitler, Joseph Stalin insane. Their marriage, that was a lightning marriage, and they got divorced while I was a baby. A single family home cannot work. Okay, look at how I turned up. And then I'm talking to all the ladies is because you're the ones that's leaving the marriage all the time. What happens is when a child grows up, in a fatherless home, you're putting that child in every single statistical disadvantage. More likely to be on drugs, more likely to have alcohol gambling problems, more likely to commit sexual assault, more likely to end up in prison, more likely to end up becoming a murderer, more likely to drop out of school, more likely to become a gang member. And you know all of these things. I'm sure you do. Don't say that, oh, these statistics, they don't apply to me. Listen, this is the same worldwide. Nothing ever good happens when you pull apart a family. In fact, do you know what family it's called in China? It's one character. It's called the jia. See, it's one syllable. It has to be nuclear, it has to be held together. And you notice how this Chinese character is written, right? See what's on the top there? It's the Chinese character is like art. It's one rooftop. You're all living under one rooftop, and the family members, they branch off from the bottom of the rooftop. Everybody stays in one home together as one nuclear family. When you break this up, nothing ever good happens. And do you know what happened right after my mom, she filed for her first divorce? She couldn't have known the devastations that would lead up to it. Shortly after, guess what? My sister, she dropped out of school. And she ended up becoming a whore. I'm sorry, I have to be honest. She was probably getting knocked out by a bunch of guys in high school. See, this is what happens. You need a father figure in your life, because if she doesn't have a father figure, a man out there telling her that he absolutely loves her, and what happens is that little girl, she's gonna crave it. And if there's nobody telling her that, she's gonna find another man somewhere out there that's gonna tell her all of these things. She's gonna end up getting groomed. That's how people get sex trafficked. That's how people get tricked into doing porn, into doing OnlyFans. That's how people get sold into red light districts, because they don't have a father figure. They don't have a man telling them that they love them, so they will crave it. You need the masculinity. It's not toxic. Right now, what's happening? It's toxic feminism. Because there's almost no such thing as a single father home. 38% of children are being raised by single mothers. And this is extremely destructive. It cannot work. And staying in school for my sister ended up becoming a massive struggle. She ended up dropping out of high school. She tried many businesses. She tried to open up many restaurants. Lost every single one of those businesses. She tried to work for insurance companies, many different jobs. And she also tried her own clothing store. My mom invested probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, possibly even millions of dollars. She's failed every single one of them. And you know what's something very interesting? Even though I came back to school, I'm about to graduate. And before I came back to university, I got a college diploma. Back in 2013, I also made a decision to drop out of school. It's extremely difficult growing up in such a hateful environment. I mentioned before, shortly after I came to Canada, back when I was 15, I was I was kicked out of the home by my dad and my stepmom because they had a child support dispute with my mom. And my mom said that the only way she'll pay anything to me was if I completely move out of the home. And it was total chaos back then. Even though I was only getting $500 a month from my mom, and even though this was back in 2007, it was not enough money to pay the bills. I was forced to work 3 days a week, first at McDonald's and then later at a fine dining restaurant washing dishes. I was eating all the leftover food every single night just so I can get by. Nothing good ever comes out of this. Everything my mom did, my sister mirrored her movements. Listen, ladies, at some point you have to take accountability. I'll give you an example. One of my sister's earlier relationships when she was, this is recently, she just dropped out of high school. You know how my mom got divorced the third time? This is, she's already been divorced twice with two different kids, with my sister and me. That's a lot of baggage. At this point in your life, you should just be content with another man that's willing to marry you, to provide for you. And during my mom's third marriage, and so she's already in her late 30s, right, at this point. And she was going out and partying and just going to karaoke, getting blackout drunk every single night. And obviously her third husband, he was extremely angry about this, and he wasn't taking it, and he didn't want to take any part of it. And every time he brought something up, my mom, she completely lost her mind. She said, "Oh my god, you are so toxic, you are so controlling, you are a narcissist." Do you really think that's okay when you're already married to someone, where you're just going out to partying, going to disco until 5, 6, 7 in the morning, getting blackout drunk with a bunch of horny dudes that's lurking around like a pack of wolves? That led to the destruction of her third marriage. So do you know what happened? The exact same thing happened to my sister. She once again copied everything my mom did in one of her earlier relationships right after she dropped out of high school. But she was going out to the bar, getting blackout drunk. And my sister, her ex-boyfriend, he warned her many, many times that you cannot do this. You're my girlfriend. You cannot be going out there with your male. And first of all, to anybody, any female out there that has male friends, that's already a huge red flag. And she's going out there partying with her male and female friends, sometimes coming back on 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. And it got to the point where the relationship got violent. One night, my sister, she got completely drunk and just blacked out. She returned home probably somewhere in the morning hours. And her ex-boyfriend, he lost his mind and he punched my sister in the face, and she had to receive multiple stitches that ended the relationship. Let's say if I know I'm going to an extremely dangerous area with very high levels of crime, I'm going to the hood. And despite all the warnings from other people telling me to just don't go there, I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna show off. I'm gonna buy a gold chain. Right? I'm gonna put on a bunch of rings, and I'm gonna get a bunch of diamonds and blings, and I'm gonna take out 50K of cash. I'm gonna wave it in my hand. I'm gonna walk through the hood at night, despite everybody warning me not to do it. I say, you know what? Oh, I'm rolling in money. Look at all my jewelry. Look at my Rolex. Right? Look at my Lamborghini, and boom, a bunch of gangs show up and they shoot me and kill me and they take all my belongings. And obviously, the gang members, they have to be blamed for their fault. Like murder and robbery, it's always wrong. Like they should be arrested and be charged with first-degree murder. Yes, they are at fault. But how much of the blame do I have to take for myself, right, for doing all of those things? And it's the exact same thing what happened with my sister and my mom. So many people warned them about this type of behavior. It's just not okay when you're married and when you're in an exclusive relationship with somebody. Going out there to the club on Friday, Saturday nights, partying all night, that's for single people. And guys don't want you to do that. They're not being toxic because they know what other guys there are like. They're lurking around like a pack of wolves. They're trying to get you drunk. They're trying to get you into bed just to have sex with you, just to have a one-night stand. And afterwards, they will never ever talk to you again. And they piss the off. Do you really think this hookup culture is good for you, ladies? For a man, sex can just be about sex. It can be just, it can be purely physical. For a woman, there's always an emotional connection with it, because every time you orgasm, your body releases oxytocin, and there's some kind of attachment. Do you really think it's a good idea to go out there and just do, what do you want? Just a one hot steamy night for 15 minutes just for the guy to off and never ever call you again or never look at you in the eyes and just completely ignores you? Do you really feel fulfilled? Or do you want a guy that treats you with respect? Someone will never ever hurt you. Someone will always be there to protect you. Someone will always be faithful to you, that will provide to you for the rest of your life. Which one do you want? And I'm saying this because I've seen so many women do this. Once again, it's a very small percentage man where you're describing 6 feet, 100,000, APAC, good looking, good manners, have riz, all of these things. It's a very small percentage of men that's sleeping around with all the women. I've seen some 18-year-old girls, they go to university. By the end of the first semester, they already have a body count of 30, 40, 50. You've already completely destroyed your future. There's no way in the future that nobody wants a Tom bicycle. There's no way you'll be in a happy marriage relationship after that, because your body, your image, your reputation has been destroyed. Whatever happened in your past, your body count 100% matters. It's going to completely dictate your future. And listen, every man, every woman out there knows that if you marry a woman that has a promiscuous behavior in the past, that's going to completely destroy a man's reputation and his career. Look at what happened with Will and Jada Smith. There's no better example. It was during my mom's final marriage, her sixth marriage. She co-founded a company with her husband at the time. It was a company where they would install these mini sauna rooms. So these sauna rooms, they were very, very comfortable because you could literally put them in the corner of your living room or your bedroom, and you turn on the switch, and half an hour later, you're ready for a hot and steamy sauna, and it's perfect during the middle of the winter. And at one point, my mom, she had business all over the country. She was able to have 50 people working for her, and she was able to purchase 2 different houses and 3 different vehicles in the course of just a few years. And do you know why the company ended up going downhill? It's because multiple divorces by the family again. So there was a major accident at some point. I think it happened in 2008, where one of the guys, he completely messed up the installation, and the sauna room, it turned on fire and almost burned the entire building down. Even though nobody died, everybody evacuated quickly. Obviously, the news spreads very quickly, and that really damaged her company's reputation. So the sales started to drop dramatically. So right after the sales started to drop and everybody in the company saw their incomes to decrease, my sister, she was married to her first husband at the time, and he was also working for my mom. Right away, she had an affair with another guy who had a bit of money. Once again, I'll go back to what Chris Rock said. Women, children, and dogs, they are loved unconditionally. A man can only be loved given the condition that he provides something. So as soon as he lost the ability to provide, as soon as his income started to drop, my sister, she gave up on their marriage. She went and had an affair, and she filed for divorce. And she was saying all of these nasty things to make an excuse for herself. She was saying that, oh, the guy, he's a cheater, he's an asshole, this and that. Listen, the guy, he was not tall or handsome or anything or like that, but he was a very great guy, and I spent many years with him back when I was in China. And you're supposed to judge a man by the contents of his character, and look at what happened. My sister, she files, this is her first divorce, and guess what, just a couple years into her second marriage, after she had her daughter with her second husband, he found out that he's been cheating this whole time. What do you expect? You went out and cheated on this guy while you were still married, and at the time that guy was still married, and she files for divorce. And guess who gets custody of the child, right? My sister. Guess who gets the alimony for the next 18 years? My sister. And this money was, alimony was never enough for her, and she will continue to pressure him every single day. I see the text messages, I see the emails, I see the calls, and she said, give me more money, give me more money, give me more money. And I mentioned in a previous video that there was so much pressure on him that he tried to do a sketchy business, and he lost millions of dollars. And he went to the rooftop of a high-rise building. He jumped off. Yeah, he jumped off. When the company sales started going down, my sister went out and told my mom, and she said that this is all your husband's fault. Okay, it's because it's one of these colleagues that messed up the installation. There was a major accident. Now the sales is going down. He can't provide as much, and this is all on him, so we should kick him out. One day, my mama, this is her sixth husband, he came home one day. He found out they threw out all of his belongings from the 4th floor window, and he found all his furniture, all his belongings, all his clothes either burned, smashed to pieces, torn apart, and he was extremely devastated. It was my sister that encouraged my mom to do this. She said that I found my second husband. He's got a bit of money. We should move in with him, and we should try to do some business and work with him. My sister ended up completely destroying my mom's sixth marriage. Way back in 1989. My mom could have never imagined this. And despite all of this, I don't have hatred for her because I do believe she's a victim. And I believe all the modern feminists, you're victims as well. You're being lied, you're being indoctrinated into this extremely dangerous concept. You talk about, oh, feel empowered, you need to compete with men, you need to smash the patriarchy. Listen, there's no feminist utopia. It's been a 100% lie. I've never ever seen someone as miserable as my mom. All of these divorces, all these broken relationships is taking a huge toll on her, and she's on the verge of breaking. She's constantly on medication. To be honest, my mom, she's over 60 now. I don't think she's gonna make it to over 70. I can see it in her eyes, and she's already lost most of her soul, and she's just completely gone. She has been completely destroyed. Same with my sister. All the divorces, all the relationships, all the abuses, everything that's happened, and it's completely destroyed my sister. And it's nearly completely destroyed me. And look at what happened to me right now. As I mentioned, I'm 31 years old, never been on a date, still a virgin. And people will say, oh, how do you approach women and talk to them, and maybe you're just socially awkward. Well, did I have a father figure that taught me, says, oh, son, this is how you need to talk to girls. This is what women want. Did I have my mom telling me this is how you maintain a happy marriage, a happy family. This is what you should do when you talk to women, and this is what we search for in guys. I had none of that. I grew up without a father figure, without a mother figure, and this is where I am. And if you're wondering what happened to all the money my mom made and all the money my sister made during all those successful years where the company was extremely profitable, well, they spent it all, every single dime of it. And this is why I keep bringing up this point. Ladies, you're terrible at managing your finances. This is why society wants to push feminism. This is why they want you to be girl bosses. This is why they want you to be a corporate execs. This is why they want you to make all the big bucks. This is why almost all the workplaces have a quota for 50% women now. It's because over 80% of the consumer spending is from women. And because of this, over 80% of debt is also generated by women. That is a fact. That is not a lie. It is true in almost every single country worldwide. Why do you think Saudi Arabia has so much money? Because the men there, they don't let the women spend their money. That is just the hard truth. It's not misogynist to say it. And when my mom was making really good money, and I see her with my sister. This is why companies like Amazon, like Alibaba, the online shopping website, this is how they got so popular. Every day they just go on their phones, they go on shopping spree, they buy a bunch of stuff they don't need. Every day they want a new purse, a new handbag, a new perfume, a new jacket, new pair of pants, and all the other stuff in between, all the new stuff that comes out that's completely useless. And they just see a commercial of it on some kind of website, they click on it and they buy it. See, when a man makes his first $1 million, he thinks about how to make the next million and the next million. But every time, I've seen this happen with everybody, it's engraved into your DNA, it's in your head, and it's extremely hard for any woman to control this habit. As soon as you get a little bit of money, maybe you don't do it right now because you're broke, but as soon as you start making some money, the first thing you think about is, hey, let's go shopping. And it's a very destructive concept. I really, really want you to think about this. And listen, if this trend doesn't get reversed soon, what you'll see happening is that you'll see more and more young women acting like hoes, getting passed around. And by the time they're 35, 40, no man's gonna look at them. Nobody wants to sign up to be stepfather of the year. Nobody wants the town bicycle. You're going to be single, you're going to be childless, and you're going to be on antidepressants. You're going to be absolutely miserable. There's a reason why, if you believe there's a higher power, whether you think it's God or Jesus and this and that, I'm not religious by any means, but there's a reason why. It's called Mother Nature. Mother Nature made the fact that only women can get pregnant. There's a reason why a man spreads the seeds. So they go out there, they become the breadwinner, they build their careers, they provide for the family. Ladies, it is almost impossible for you to, be a mom and have your own career. You can only choose one, okay? You can only choose one. It is impossible to juggle it. You have to stop trying to compete with men. And look at what happened. Look at Taylor Swift. She's going to end up alone one day. She's going to be single, childless. She's going to be a cat mom. She's going to be drinking wine, eating cheese, and watching Netflix, and she's going to be on antidepressants. Look at what happened to Britney Spears. Look at how messed up she is. Look at Lindsay Lohan. Look at Ariana Grande and all her relationships. Look at Jennifer Aniston. She's no longer fertile, and she will never be able to have a children of her own. You can only choose one. What is it going to be? What is going to be more fulfilling for you? You've been lied to this whole time. And if this trend doesn't get reversed soon, you will see angry, depressed, and violent men. These men will become career criminals. The man that, because it is not possible for the average guy to find a partner, find a wife, to start a family anymore. They will turn to suicide. They will turn to drug overdose. No, they will join gang members. They will bring destruction to our society. They become mass shooters. They will become looters, shoplifters. They will enter schools with an AK-47 and shoots everybody they see. And they will look for suicide by cop. You watch the movie The Joker? The guy has a bad day, another bad day, another bad day, another bad day. This is where society will turn into if this doesn't get turned around. And I really, really hope that you will take my message seriously. This video has already been too long, but please give it a thought. I will come back to this topic. Thank you for staying till the end.